Hey, what are you doing?
Nothing. What are you doing?
Nothing.
You look like you're thinking about something.
Not really. Why, are you thinking about something?
I was thinking about time travel.
Well, I hate to be the one to tell you this, but I don't think it's an option.
I just mean, you know how people say the fact that no one has gone back and killed Hitler proves time travel will never be invented?
Sure, people are always saying that.
But do you ever stop and think about how different the world would be right now if Hitler and World War II never happened? At first, it makes perfect sense to say that a time traveler from the future should come back and take out Hitler before his rise to power to prevent all the suffering and death and destruction he caused. But if you remove all that darkness, you also remove the brighter things that came after, don't you?
That seems like a pretty bloodless way of looking at it. I'm sure the soldiers who had to fight the war, or the people being starved or worked or gassed to death in those concentration camps would have appreciated someone preventing all that from happening.
Right, but that's my point, see? It depends on which perspective you privilege. From the perspective of someone living through the horror and chaos Hitler caused in the 1930s and 40s, preventing all of that by taking him out before he could do any of it would probably seem like a very appealing prospect. But to someone living many decades after that, who can take a more detached perspective, preventing all of that suffering might not be worth it compared to what else we would lose.
I don't know, man. It still seems cold-hearted to say you wouldn't kill Hitler if you had the chance. That's like having the ability to put out a fire at someone's house, but choosing not to and letting the house burn down because you know a few years later there are going to be some really pretty wildflowers growing in the vacant lot.
I think Pretty Wildflowers undersells the positives that followed the war. The creation of the United Nations, the establishment of the National Health Service in the UK, the brave service of black troops in the war led to the desegregation of the American military, which helped to accelerate efforts for desegregation elsewhere. The GI Bill enabled an entire generation of soldiers to come home, get an education, and have careers in engineering and the sciences that not only benefited them, their families, and the economy, but also led to the scientific and technological breakthroughs that laid the foundation for our modern world. Would we have had NASA, the space program, the moon landings, if not for World War II?
So you're pro-war, that's what you're saying?
No, of course not.
Would we have had the moon landings without the Nazi scientists who designed the rockets we used? Sure, the regime they served murdered millions of people and threatened to engulf the entire world in totalitarianism, but like 20 years later we landed a few guys on the moon, so in the end they were really the good guys, right?
No, what I'm saying is
we shouldn't try to stop bad things from happening because they eventually lead to good things happening. Diplomacy and social activism are wastes of time.
No, we should do those things. We have to do those things. We have to fight injustice and try to prevent war and death and suffering because it's the right thing to do, because we owe a responsibility to our fellow human beings. But we don't know what's going to happen in the future. There are unforeseeable consequences to everything. All I'm saying is, if time travel did exist, there would be reasons to think twice about going back and killing Hitler.
Okay, what about this? Let's say you're not a time traveler from the future. Let's say you're a psychic and you see visions of the future that are guaranteed to come true. You live in Germany in the 1920s. You see the Nazis growing in power and influence. You look at this Hitler asshole. You get a vision of all the atrocities and devastation he will be responsible for, and you decide to kill him now before any of that happens. But after you make that decision, you get another vision, a vision of those good things you mentioned earlier that came about in the aftermath of World War II. The United Nations, the GI Bill, the moon landings, the advancements in civil rights, all of that.
Right, so do I kill Hitler to prevent the suffering and harm he'll cause in the short term, or do I allow that suffering and harm to happen to preserve the positive results in the long term?
That's not all. Let me finish.
I'm always interrupting you.
It's okay. One last detail. You're old enough when you get this vision that you'll have to live through the Third Reich and World War II, but you won't live long enough to experience most of those positive results that follow. But your psychic visions are never wrong. You know for a fact that if you don't kill Hitler, and you allow the horrors in your lifetime to happen, eventually brighter days will follow and a better world will rise from the ashes.
So do I kill Hitler? That's the question?
Yes, with certain knowledge of the post-war future you would be radically altering, do you kill Hitler?
Can I see what the future would look like if I did kill Hitler?
No. Your psychic powers don't show you possible futures, just the future that will definitely happen if you don't intervene.
I would kill Hitler.
You would kill Hitler?
Yeah.
After all that you were saying earlier about thinking twice and how preventing the suffering back then might not be worth giving up the good things that came after it, you're telling me you would kill Hitler?
Yes. Based on the scenario you set up in your question. Would you like to hear why?
No. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
It comes down to what I can have certainty about and what I can't. You said my vision shows me what definitely will happen if I do nothing, but you said my vision doesn't show me what will happen if I kill Hitler. So the future, if I kill Hitler, is uncertain. It will be different than the future if I don't kill Hitler, but I can't know if it will be different for the worse or different for the better. What I do know with certainty is that in my lifetime, millions of people will die and the world will be devastated by war if I don't kill Hitler. So I choose to act to prevent the suffering I'm sure will happen and take a chance on what the resulting future will be.
Makes sense.
I think so.
Sounds like an airtight justification for escaping hardship in your own life while potentially condemning future generations to suffer instead.
Thank you.